Rollo Tomassi is one of the leading voices in the male-focused online community known as the Red Pill. The Red Pill focuses more on the intersexual sexual dynamics and sexual power dynamics of the more general male self-development. 1. Oneitis. There's no the one. The definitive dictionary of power defines oneitis as the tendency for an individual to pedestalize one woman and feel like she is the one, and it's either he gets her or he is desperate. Oneitis is an old concept harking back to the very beginning of pickup and manosphere. Check the Game, The Mystery Method, and David D'Angelo. In short, oneitis refers to men who obsess over a single specific woman. So you would say that a man suffers from oneitis when he loses his mind for one woman and thinks she's so awesome that he must absolutely be with her, or he's ruined. Rollo suggests that this is in part due to the mistaken belief of the one, such as there is a woman or a man out there who is just right for you, and you just need to find her. I completely agree with Tomassi here. This idea makes no sense whatsoever, and it should be so obvious that we don't need to discuss it any further. Smiley face. I don't think there is much connection, though, between oneitis and the one mindset. Oneitis relates more to chemical reactions and lacks options than to beliefs. 2. The secret to relationship power. Don't need her. Tomassi borrows a concept from sociology called principle of least interest. And it means that the person who needs the other person the least controls the outcome. Tomassi says that whether or not you want to see relationships through the lenses of power dynamics or not, it doesn't matter. The power dynamics will be at play anyway. And while I couldn't agree more, smiley face. On the other hand, this is also a potentially toxic approach. Partially true, but potentially toxic. First off, many elements determine power in a relationship, not just who needs who. Second, a focus on needing her less easily leads to a semi-toxic win-lose approach. And that's also bad for you. The APA Handbook on Relationships, for example, says that those more powerful partners are less satisfied in the relationships. 5 ways to maintain power and control in relationships. 3. Don't just be yourself, grow. You know the old self-help mantra, right? It's just be yourself. Tomassi criticizes that approach and invites the readers of The Rational Male to focus on growth and self-development to become a high-quality man. He uses his own example of what happened to him when he started truly working on himself. He went from worst, bottom-scraping beta to rock star and alpha father. What you do with your life and who you become in your life, says Rollo, is up to you. That's true indeed. The danger is not aiming high, but aiming low and achieving it. 4. Plate theory. Dates several women. Plate theory, at its essence, equates plates with women and says that men should not commit to a single woman and instead keep their options open, i.e., spinning several plates at once. Tomassi doesn't say a man should never commit, but he does recommend not doing so before 30 or before he fully understands the lifetime value of men and women, what he really wants from life, and the dynamics of the sexual marketplace. Writes Rollo Tomassi, a man is as confident and valuable as his options. This is the essence of abundance mindset. Confidence is derived from options. The sexual marketplace. Overview of intersexual dynamics. Spinning plate for abundance mentality. Spinning different plates doesn't mean that he must be sexual with all of them, or that he must keep spinning them all. The idea is to have several different leads to help you internalize the idea that there are many women out there, that many women can suit you, and that you don't have to take CRP from any of them because you can easily be next to her. Spinning plate for best girlfriend choice. Spinning plates allow men to gain more dating and female knowledge, to discern low-quality women from high-quality women, and, when he wants, it allows him to make a more informed choice. Indeed, I would add that quantity is not antithetical to quality. Quantity is an enabler of quality. And when you want to stop with a woman, you know that it was a choice you have done based on options and knowledge, and not on desperation. Quantity enable quality. Be the prize. Rollo Tomassi also says that the attitude that you are the prize of the relationship must underpin your plate spinning. When you are the prize, women will also accept non-exclusivity more because, says Tomassi, Women would rather share a successful man than be saddled with a faithful loser. 5. Unplugging and taking the red pill. Unplugging, or taking the red pill, is common red pill parlance for coming to see things as they really are. In this case, it would be men dropping the mistaken assumption from society and embracing the manosphere theories and tenets. Rollo Tomassi says there are typical stages of the red pill awakening. 1. Denial, refusing to let go of previous beliefs. 2. Anger, awareness the pill makes sense, anger at society for feeding wrong ideas. 3. Bargaining, trying to keep some old beliefs. 4. Depression, the red pill can be a tough one to swallow. 5. Acceptance, becoming a knowledgeable, healthy, rational male. 6. Men's market value increases, women's decreases. Our current culture pretends that men and women are the same. But that's crap, implies Rollo. And nowhere is this more visible than in the sexual marketplace. Women reach their peak at around 23 years old, while men are just starting their ascension, peaking at 36. Tomassi says, at age 23, while a girl is enjoying her prime value, a man is just beginning to make his own gradual ascent. By age 36, the average man has reached his own relative apex. It's at this phase that his sexual/social/professional appeal has reached maturity. And while women's market value is mostly a consequence of their physical attractiveness, male attractiveness is only one factor. Thus, a rich 50 years old will be more value than an average, run-of-the-mill 30 years old. That can hardly be the case for women. Women are duped into losing strategy. Tomassi also seems to suggest that the current cultural climate of women being the same as men leads them to the mistaken assumption that they have time. But when they reach their 30s after they spent their early 20s partying, they eventually realize, sometimes too late, that their value is dropping fast. 7. How to keep a woman's interest. Tomassi says you should never say it outright that you are seeing other women. You should make it clear, though, if you're not ready for commitment or you are stealing her time. In line to get pussy is what low-quality men do. Tomassi recommends, let her glean from your behavior you have options. Don't be too available. Don't be there for her during the weekends. 8. Shit tests. Women test men to determine one or more of these factors. 1. Confidence, first and foremost. 2. Options. Is he into me, or am I his only option? 3. Security. Is he able to provide long-term? Shit tests power dynamics. 8 ways to win the game. As a general rule, though, I recommend testing women instead of focusing on passing her tests, since it's the person who tests the other who is power. Also read the judge role and power dynamics dash. Some tests for women. Ask women this crazy question, and test their moral mettle. Tell women to leave a tip. See how much and if they leave any. Tell her, get that baby. See how she reacts. Hint. Feminists get angry at the word baby. 9. The Alpha Buddha. Listening to The Rational Male, I was curious to see Corey Worthington's interview, which for Tomassi exemplifies alpha male behavior. 10. Rollo Tomassi Iron Rules. Tomassi lists 9 iron rules. Number 1, frame is everything. Control the frame, but don't give the impression you are consciously doing so. Number 2, never share your sexual partner's count. Albeit Tomassi does so in the book, and it's 40, smiley face. In my experience, though, most women don't really care about it anyway. And if they asked, they never pressed me for a final number. Number 3, don't wait for women who make you wait. Any woman who makes you wait for sex is not worth it. I couldn't agree more, except for fringe cases like very religious or virgins until late in life. Number 4, don't ever live with a woman you're not marrying. Either you're married or you're going to within 6 months. I disagree with this one. Living together is an important test ride. Number 5, never allow a woman to be in control of birth control. LOL, this one had me smiling. Use a condom, guys. Number 6, women are incapable of loving a man the way he expects them to. I'm not sure about this one. What exactly is the way a man expects to be loved? Number 7, develop new relationships. Don't fix broken ones. Your time and effort are better spent looking for new ones than fixing the unfixable ones. I agree, albeit sometimes it can be difficult to know what's unfixable. See here for some help on relationship diagnostics. Number 8. Never help a woman figure out why she won't CKU. This rule says that in the current paradigm, women are the sexual selectors, but you shouldn't flip the script there and be the prize of the relationship. Honestly, I miss the connection between the title of this rule and its content. Number 9. Never self-deprecate. Don't self-deprecate or try to appeal to her sympathy or sense of guilt. Yeah, with most guys and women, it's true. However, it's also a generalization. Usually, it's okay to self-deprecate when your qualities speak for themselves or when you are coming across as too good. See availability and self-rejection. Also, a subset of emotionally troubled women, women who love too much, love to fix a troubled man. But it's a minority of women. Women ask for Mr. Dependable, but fuck Mr. Exciting. There is plenty of great advice in the rational male, especially for beginners. But that's also the limitation. It lacks refinement for more advanced men. Here is all the criticism of the rational male. 1. Unsubstantiated and inaccurate claims. Several claims are unscientific, factually inaccurate, and even illogical. Some examples. 1.2. Women obey the imperative of fucking the alpha man while marrying the nice guy. Imperative? What does it even mean? That's already your little red flag of lacking any real rigor. Women, like men, or like any other living organism for that matter, seek to get the best they can get. Sometimes that means picking an alpha male and raising children on her own, good gene or sexy son hypothesis. Often it means pair bonding with the best she can get and staying for the longer term, while a few times it means deploying a mixed strategy of getting great genes from one man and resources from another, dual mating strategy. As you can see just from that brief description, it's complex. But there is no standalone imperative that forces all women to fuck the alpha, lock down the nice guy. Furthermore, that imperative just fails to materialize. Even if there were such a biological urge, non-paternity rates disprove Rollo's female imperative. Or, at least, they disprove that women are successful at turning that imperative into reality, i.e., women utterly fail to trick men into caring for children who are not his dash. Data on this topic is of course hard to find, but a few studies show that if you take a DNA test because you're not sure you're the father, then your chances of being cuckolded are slightly higher than 1 in 3, meaning 2 times out of 3 they're the actual father. But on the overall population, the median among estimates is 3.7%, including those who took the test. One of the sources is here and another one here. That means that 98+% of women father children from their official partners. The data does not support the idea that most women are acting on the imperative of getting genes from an alpha and getting support from a beta. Prominent evolutionary psychology researchers, including David Buss, also don't lend full explanatory power to the good genes hypothesis and instead prefer the mate-switching hypothesis, such as women sleep around and keep their options open more to potentially switch mates than to be impregnated and keep the same one, which makes logical sense. Whenever a woman, can she better off switching and get the full package dash? This is not to say that might not want to, but they simply don't do it very often. Still, this website is not the place to invite people to be trusting and have faith in just about anyone. Be watchful. That's always a smarter policy. Update. Rollo's answer. Rollo answered. Of course, as expected, he didn't expressly say he was answering to TPM, an expected power move. But we know chances are he was referring to us. And he said that our criticism was wrong, because you should also include in the computation women who had children from other men and remarried. And then you'd get at around 40%. That made no sense to me, since those new male partners aren't necessarily providing for the whole family, and they might have children on their own as well. Finally, investment in mothers with children is often considered as a mating effort, not an investment in children. Indeed, a mother who remarries is not always winning investments, but she's failing at her job as a mother and putting her children at increased risk. Studies have long shown that a stepfather in the household is the single greatest risk factor for child neglect and abuse, including higher incidence of infanticide. Dolly and Wilson, 1988. P.S. Rollo, you can just say you're reading and learning here. All you red pill gurus do anyway, and it's a lot more straight to address and credit others by name. 1.3. Women are incapable of loving? My experience differs. I've been in love, some women fell in love with me, and at times we both were in love at the same time. Sure, some men are more romantic indeed, and more idealistic, and many women are more practical. I also believe women can be more ruthless when it comes to moving on and cutting exes off. That's because they operate on a smaller reproductive window. But I can't help but wonder here. Are these authors expecting a woman to love them as their mothers would? Like unconditional love, no matter how naughty or useless he is. Then it's not women's fault if they had wrong expectations. Men aren't going to love women the way a father would. And women aren't going to provide unconditional love either. It's just a different type of love. But it can be equally good. I can tell you from a guy who's been there. Once, when I crashed into an ex-girlfriend's place and did absolutely nothing to contribute to the household, she told me, only your mother wants you around if you don't do anything. And you know what? She was damn right. Don't seek to be loved unconditionally. Seek to carry your own weight in life. 2. Misunderstanding of basic scientific principles and logical fallacies. Rollo says, I completely disagree with the idea that women will only fuck or want to fuck one guy at a time. I could outline several women I know from experience in this. To begin with, this is strawmanning. Whoever said that women will only fuck one guy at a time? Second, this is called inductive reasoning, such as looking at a few cases and generalizing to the whole population. It's prone to all kinds of personal biases and rarely leads to good conclusions. For the record, there are plenty of women who enjoy casual sex. And still, women want to sleep around much less than men want a Ridley, 1993. 2.2. Increasing sex partners not a risk for VDs wrong. To make the point, more sex does not mean higher risk, Rollo says. In my lifetime, I've had sex with over 40 women, and I never once caught a venereal disease. I can also point to men I know who contracted herpes from the only women they'd ever had sex with. You can equally be a rock star and tap hundreds of women without any consequence, and you could be a virgin saint and contract a disease on your wedding night. To begin with, I'd hope Rollo used a condom at least some of the times. When it comes to what I partially agree with him, the fear of VD might be overblown, and VD should not be your main reason to decide for monogamy. But that quote above is the equivalent of the 95 years old who smokes 2 packs of cigarettes a day. Hence, cigarettes are not bad fallacy. The danger is also that the more the woman is okay with not using a condom, the higher risk she is. Sometimes I even use it as a test. I pretend I'm not using any condom and see how she reacts. 2.3. Monogamy serves women's interests, not fully correct. Rollo writes, monogamy as a goal is a tool of the feminine imperative. That's not true. Rollo confuses what's good for a sizable subgroup with what's good for the whole group. But there are no groups in dating and intersexual dynamics or in life in general. There are individuals. Monogamy can serve an individual interest, but it does not serve any gender interest at large. Monogamy, serial monogamy, or polyamory, per se, are gender neutral. A high-status man suffers from monogamy because he could more easily get more women. But a high-status woman gains from monogamy because a high-status male will be under pressure to commit to her. And a lower-status male gains with monogamy because the cultural expectation helps him get a woman. See Kanazawa, 2007. 2.4. Women manipulate men to not take care of themselves. Illogical. Storytelling, opinions, and personal biases sold as facts are the bane of the rational male. For example, Rollo says women tell men that looks don't matter so that men won't take care of themselves. Why would they do so? Because, Rollo says, it allows women to keep having sex with the alpha males they are attracted to while still being able to rely on the resources of their less attractive partners. It's an imaginative theory, like many of Rollo's theories are on manipulative games women play. But imaginative doesn't make for accurate. And outside of relationships where that lie could help her lock up a higher value mate, Rollo's theory makes no sense. In truth, Anyone with a basic grasp of intersexual dynamics would probably agree that women gained if all men cared more about themselves because they'd have more to choose from, and that would give them more power. See more on games that women play here. 10 nasty games women play. Women, stop these. 3. Made up, pop evolutionary psychology, storytelling, opinions, and fervid imagination. Rollo often references evolutionary psychology. But good evolutionary psychology must have been tested, and when not, it must be labeled as personal conjecture. Personal conjecture can be valid and add up, and before it can be tested, it can be a hypothesis with strong explanatory power. But it must be logical. Rollo Tomassi's Evo Psych, as he calls it instead, feels a random opinion that does not add up, with post-scriptum storytelling attached to try and sound more credible, but instead only makes him lose authority. Just as an example, Rollo says that women fall in love with the new alpha male because they had to adapt to invading tribes. This is good storytelling, but it's a conjecture. For anything to leave a mark on our biology and neural circuitry, something must have happened frequently, ideally many times over a person's lifetime, and provided a distinct survival or mating advantage that could be transmitted and provide that same advantage to the offspring. Rollo has no idea how often an invading tribe took the women of another tribe, but that didn't stop him from making that up, and I personally suspect it may have not happened enough to develop a dedicated, specialized adaptation to love the invading men. 4. The male side bias fails to provide a good overview. This is what David Buss says. Popular explanations blame patriarchy, masculine hegemony, and toxic masculinity. This is the feminist point of view. Manosphere bloggers, on the other hand, blame women who seek sex with alpha chads, high-status males, and exploit lower-status men who are betas for their investment. This is the red pill point of view. There is some truth to each of these contrasting accounts, but also ways in which they lack explanatory depth. Note that David Buss is an actual evolutionary psychology researcher, and what he's basically saying is that male bloggers are the feminist equivalent. I agree with that, albeit the red pill is probably a lot closer to the truth than the feminists. Still far from perfect, though, albeit there are good analyses in The Rational Male. I believe it fails to provide a good overview of dating and dating power dynamics. Why? Because Rollo Tomassi has a strong male bias, and I suspect an anti-women bias as well. For example, Rollo focuses on the games women play and men falling for them. And there are certainly women who dupe men. And women, in general, are better and very effective at controlling relationships. Also see female domestication, how women control men in relationships. But the view of men played by women is simplistic. Men play their own games. Both genders, at times, seek to take advantage of one another. The way I see it, you can't sit with these guys, laugh at blatant gaslighting and manipulation, and pretend to be an unbiased analyst. 4.2. The focus on the female dual sexual strategy misses the male's counterpart. Rollo Tomassi describes the dualistic female dating strategy of seeking genes from strong men and resources from weak men, aka alpha fucks, beta bucks. But he fails to see or mention that men use the exact same dual strategy. See Wright, 1994. The male dual strategy is this: marry the pious girl and fuck the floozy. This dual strategy, when taken to an extreme, results in the Madonna whore complex. 5. An overgeneralization fest on women nature. Tomassi has many categories for men. There are alphas, alpha providers, beta who don't know the rules, red pill men who open their eyes, etc. But women all seem to be the same. All are driven by their biology the exact same way. All playing games and all looking for an alpha to inseminate them and a beta to take care of them. I found this overgeneralizations one of the major drawbacks of The Rational Male. It's also not very informative because not all women are created equals and different women have different tendencies for cheating. I'm not the only one to feel this way. The almost colleague guys over at Charisma on Command feel the same. To be clear, men and women do have important differences that, as Jordan Peterson says, are particularly relevant at the extremes. But Rollo Tomassi still makes the two genders more different than they actually are and overgeneralizes.